Well, hello there. I am back for a bit. This is going to be a short stream, and I'm not going to do a long intro, but the plan is that I want to get back to streaming because I've been on a hiatus for like 3 months or something, and I really need to get back to the whole thing because my productivity is not great all the time, and this is the primary reason I'm streaming stuff. So, yeah. I am going to get started, and per usual, I am working on a jam game, so not a big surprise if anyone is returning, because I've been doing this jam series for almost a year now. I started in February. It's a really small Hungarian community jam called Havi egy játék, which literally translates to one game a month. So yeah, as you can guess, they give you a couple of themes. You can choose at least one, or you can choose multiple themes if you feel like it. And for October, which is, I know that is over, but the deadline for this jam is next Tuesday. So I get a solid 3 days to finish the game, which is almost nothing. I mean, the current state of the game is basically nothing, but that's all right. So we have 3 themes. One is Scare, one game makes music. This is the one that we chose with Tibor, and another is based on a famous building. And there's an optional modifier, has a secret level, which we may or may not use. We are not so sure yet. So let me show you where we are at the moment. I started making this game like 2 days ago. I think I spent like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours with the basics, and I'm just going to show you how it looks at the moment. By the way, if you are at any point wanting to give the game a try, I mean, it's not really a game, not yet anyway, but it will be, hopefully, soon. So you can find the link for the current state of the game under the video, and you can also do a little command in chat. I think it's this one. Oh yeah, and then you get a little link from the bot, which leads to this itch.io page, which is the current version of the game. So it's literally the same version that you are seeing in my editor. Of course, I'm using Construct 3 once again, as always, and this is going to be a mobile game, so this is why the vertical orientation is. And it's going to be something like Bejeweled, you know, or the similar match 3 type of deal, but you are probably going to match 2 or 4 or I don't know how many blocks. Essentially, right now we have the matching mechanic working by color, and as you can see, the blocks are disappearing if I select them as such. You can select 2 or 3 as well. The minimum is 2, so you can just remove 1 block, but you can remove as many as 4 right now. And these are parameters that I can set in the game, so this can really easily change should we want it to change. And right now the game is this and nothing more. So there are a couple of to-do items that I need to complete, and hopefully the game will reach a playable state tomorrow, and we can, you know, do some more testing, balancing, and add some juice on Monday. And we have to submit on Tuesday. Tuesday, I think midnight local time is our deadline. So yeah, this is where we are. And the to-do list consists of these items: dynamically spawn starting blocks, because right now I have literally 64 instances of this block object placed on the layout, which is not great, but you know, it served the purpose of testing. And then we have this is more of a maybe it would be nice type of to-do item: make block sizes dynamic. And by that I mean that it would be great if the level can be generated in a fixed container by specifying how many rows and how many columns I want to appear. So this would mean that block sizes would be dynamic. So some blocks, I mean, in some setups, the block would be larger or smaller, but they would all be the same size, of course. And then we have to make a feature that spawns new blocks, because right now we can only remove blocks and not spawn new ones. I'm figuring that something like, you know, infinitely spawning blocks from the top would fit the bill, I think. We'll see. Then the second part of the main mechanic of this game will be some symbols on top of the existing blocks, which are colored. There are 4 colors, and there will be different symbols, which will also serve as, how to say it, essentially the matching can be done with the symbols instead of the colors as well. So if you have the same symbol on this and this block, for example, then you can you know, select them together and they will also disappear, just like they do with the matching colors right now. So yeah. And then I have to make some sort of loose condition detection. Right now the game has no clue if there are even more pairs or matches to be done, and it's quite possible right now that since there are no blocks spawning, but even if there were blocks spawning in, it's quite possible that some level layouts lead to a dead end, so the player cannot remove any more blocks because there are no 2 similar blocks next to each other. So I have to do some sort of detection wizardry to, I don't know, maybe shuffle the playing field or something. I have no idea, not yet, but I just want to create the function that detects this situation. And then we will have to make some basic sounds and background music. So we chose the theme Game Makes Music, and we figured that we are going to get away with it by adding sounds that play certain notes when they are removed. And so the background music would be just some sort of simple loop with a basic drum, possibly some bass or something. And as you remove blocks, the blocks make certain musical notes, which would sound good together with the simple background music. That's it, essentially. We only have 3 days, so yeah, this is more than enough, I think. Not to mention, I don't really have too much experience doing such things, so here we go. Right, I think I'm going to start with the first item, dynamically spawning the starting blocks. And right now I'm just going to replicate this same 8x8 layout. So yeah, let's get started. Oh yeah, I wanted to go through a little bit how the existing project looks. I'm going to open all these little custom actions. So most things are happening in the A blocks event sheet. These are functions essentially, but Construct calls them custom actions. They are all related to the blocks, and the init one is the one that runs when the block is created. The onSelection start, while selection, and onSelection and custom actions are called when the player starts touching a block, while the touch is happening, and when the touch is ending, so when the touch is removed. Then there's this little deselect all custom action, which fires after the selection ended, which just removed the selection. And also we have a custom action called remove, which destroys a block and shifts the position of all the blocks that were on top of that removed block. So there's this little bouncy animation as the blocks come down. Hi there, Flavius. Omnipresence is here, that's neat. Thank you for being here. How are you doing today? Happy Saturday. I am just back with a little simple project, and I'm also going to be streaming for like an hour or maybe 2 hours tops, and that's it. I just wanted to have a little transitional streaming stuff because I've been on a break for some time, few months I guess, and I really procrastinated doing this as well for like 2 weeks or something, but I'm here, so yeah, hope you're doing fine as well. Meanwhile, I wanted to create some sort of object that encompasses the whole playing field, which will be filled with these little blocks. So I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to create a new object, which will probably not even be visible at least not at this point, but I'm going to give it a little color, and I'm going to move it right here and essentially cover the existing blocks with it. So I can remove all of these blocks. I'm going to leave just one, and I'm going to move it to the other layout that contains essentially all the instances, single instances of the object types that are going to be spawned dynamically during the game's runtime. So this is how I do it. I have an object templates layout, and if I have any object that I don't want on the actual game layout, I just paste them here. I set their instance variables, their properties for the behaviors and stuff like this. So when the game creates an instance dynamically during runtime, it will just take this instance as essentially a template. So great, how am I? I am really well, I guess. So everything went perfect today, and this is why I'm actually here, because, you know, as I mentioned, I procrastinated doing this sort of thing for a while now, but today was really good. I slept well. I was, you know, I wasn't tired or anything, so I figured that, hey, before the nerds, why don't we stream a little? So yeah. The game I'm working on is once again for the monthly jam that I'm doing, as you may or may not know. And the theme of the jam is, one of the themes anyway, the one we chose, is Game Makes Music, and it's going to be a little simple puzzle game, similar to Bejeweled, or any other, you know, match 3 type of games, and it's going to make some musical notes as a byproduct essentially. So it's not really a music game or a rhythm game or anything, but it will actually make music, I guess. And the deadline is in 3 days and 8 hours, so it's going to be a simple one once again. How is Mushroom Ninja, by the way? Have you had time this week to work on it? Because the new graphics are looking freaking great. And you mentioned that you're working on the main character, the player character. Have you had any time to make the animations again? I'm guessing you figured that they are now a little different from all the other remade assets. So okay, what am I doing? Okay, so yeah, I have this object. I created this one. Meanwhile, I am going to call it level, which is not a great name, but it will suffice for now. And essentially, I want this object to be covered in blocks. And how many blocks? I want to specify in 2 variables, I think. So block columns will be 1. I'm going to set its initial value to 8. And I'm going to create a separate variable called block rows, which also has the initial value 8. So I want the game to create 8 by 8 blocks on top of this level object. When the game starts. And when the game starts is actually I'm going to move this right here. So I have this eCycles event sheet. This is where I store my onStartOff layout event, and I'm going to already create a blank event called every tick. So every tick and every n seconds events go in this sheet. So on start of the layout, the init level function will be called, and this is where I usually spawn the blocks and stuff. So let's just create a sub event and start spawning the actual blocks right here. I'm also going to read chat, of course. There's a scare theme. Indeed. You have an idea for a scary game in the idea dump. Idea dump? Where? Is it a public one, or is it in your drawer or something? Mushroom Ninja is still in graphics tree design part. Right, nice. I can't wait to see the new version, you know, with all the new art at the same time. It looks great. So I am going to create 2 for loops. And for this sort of thing, I usually do a little weird thing. I create a macro called words. Oh, I mean, a macro type called words, and I'm going to create one that is called wx. W is short for word, x is you know, for the x coordinate stuff. So I'm just going to make it a string and set its initial value to x as well, and do the same thing and with y. So these will be the iterator values or variables, but these are more like tags in constructs. So I'm just going to say the name of the iterator is this. It should start from 0 and it should go up to what did I name it? Block columns, right? Okay, so but this should go up to block columns -1, I think, and I'm going to do the same for the y coordinate, and this should change to block row. Why is it called row instead of rows? Fixed. Okay. Right, okay, so these will iterate through all the columns and rows, and now we should spawn the actual block objects. Flavius also says that also I have the SMD line game that I made for the jam. Yeah, I remember that. The one I want to finish as well, and possibly a new project for a commission. You mean for someone actually ordered a game and you're making a game for someone? The idea dump is a list of ideas that I have in Obsidian, and I call it idea dump. Yeah, I have a similar list of ideas, but instead of Obsidian, I'm still using Google Keep. Although I have tried Obsidian for, a couple of minutes, essentially just scratch the surface, and I did try the Google Keep to Obsidian importer stuff, which was working more or less fine, but my tags didn't really convert to Obsidian tags or folders or whatever they have, but that's fine, I guess. I really need to move to Obsidian because Google Keep is a little sketchy. I mean, sometimes I have syncing issues, and the other problem is that I don't really like using Google stuff because Google tends to shoot products in the head from time to time, and I really don't want to, have a time pressure because Google decided to shut down Google Keep or something. Obsidian is just a bunch of markdown files in a folder, so not to mention I think Obsidian is open source, so it shouldn't be a problem. Another game, some characters. Nice. Do I know the customer, or is it super secret or something? Also, what sort of characters? Like a top-down or side view, like a platformer stuff? Spill the beans if you can and if you want, but no pressure, of course, Flavius. Meanwhile, I'm going to get started with this dynamic spawning stuff. Okay, so we only have one proper layer and one for UI. One is called main. This contains all the blocks. And the X should be... Right now I'm going to use a fixed block size, but I will convert it to a dynamic one later. So I already have this constant defined called C block size. No relation to the band. So this should be just multiplied by loop index wx, I think, hopefully, and this should be the same with y. But I also need to offset this because I don't want the blocks to spawn in the top left corner, so I will have to add the coordinates of the object, which I have named level. I guess because the origin is in the top left corner, I could just use level.x and level.y. But I could also do something like bbox left and bbox top. But this is fine for now, I think. Okay, so what if I run the game now? Okay, it's not bad, but it's a little offset because the blocks have origins in their middle. So I am going to correct this, not by altering the origin point of the block object, but by adding a little extra offset. So C block size times 0.5 should do it. Okay, great. So this means that the dynamic spawning stuff is happening, and if I change the values in these variables, for example, if I change it to 4 and 4, then only a couple blocks, 16 blocks to be exact, will spawn. So this is all right. The problem is that they are spawning in the wrong position, but I mentioned that I want the blocks to also size dynamically, so let me just figure out how to do that so it will fill the level object completely if I change their size. So I'm pretty sure that instead of a constant block size, I will have to make a variable. So I'm moving this global variable or global constant to the vState event sheet, which contains all my state variables. And I'm also unchecking constant, so it's a proper variable now. And I'm going to say block size should be the name. And by default, it doesn't even matter because I'm just going to say 0 because I'm going to calculate this dynamically right here. So I'm going to say set value block size, and block size, as long as we are talking about an equal number of rows and columns, the block should be a square. However, do I want the blocks to be rectangles and not just squares? That's the question. Also, I'm going to check chat, sorry. Characters for stream avatars, nice. Don't want to say who because I'm not sure. All right, this is fine. When he will confirm, I told you. Nice, Flavius, congrats. I mean, this is freaking great. This is kind of similar to my situation because now I have actually 2 customers at the moment who are, you know, ordering tiny mini games, and this is kind of turning out to be kind of a career path for me as well. So I really hope that if you like doing this sort of thing, you can turn it into at least a hobby and maybe, you know, also some source of income, because this is all, then if you make money from doing what you love, that's the best combination, I think. So yep, sounds great. Also, stream avatars have a couple animations, so you will have to do idle, walking, jumping, at least. Maybe, I don't know if climbing is a thing. Yeah, the fighting ones. Should be interesting. Be sure to drop me any sprites that you made for this project. I would love to check them out. Right, so meanwhile, block size. Okay, maybe I will create 2 variables. I mean, just 1 extra, and rename this to block width, and have another variable called block height. So I will allow not just square blocks, but rectangular ones as well. So when the block column and block row variable is specified, this means that I can just divide the area of the level object and calculate how big the blocks should be. So block width should be level.width divided by block columns, and similarly block height should be level.height divided by block rows. So when I create the object, I will have to change these a little bit. This is fine, but the second one, block width, because I was using the block size variable before and I just renamed it to block width. So this should be block height, and this also should be block height. Right, okay. And what I also need to do is to change the size of the block, because right now they are inheriting the default size from the object templates layout, which is 40 by 40, but it might not be 40 by 40. So I will just create a second action that sizes the block. I wonder if this is, and this should suffice, but we'll see. So width should be block width, And height should be block height. Let's just check if it works. Okay, looks good. So the whole level field is covered. Now let's try something that is not an equal number of columns and rows. Let's just say columns should be, I don't know, 8. Sweet. Okay, bit of an issue. I'm pretty sure that I'm using this old block size variable, which we renamed to block width, in a couple different places, and where the tweens are happening that move the blocks down are actually using this sort of thing, which is not correct. Idle, run, sit, stand, jump are the must-have, and the rest are optional. Alright. Sprite size is under 80 by 80, and the animation should be no longer than 10 frames. Nice. Money on the side is always welcome. Indeed. Yeah, who doesn't love money? Yeah. Also, thank you. Right. So, yeah. This is for the matching bit, I think. So, this is where the distance is calculated. Block width plus block distance padding. Right. Okay, I'm going to do something that is not perfect, but for our purpose it should be, I think, fine. So I'm going to say max block width and block height right here, and also the tween stuff. So since we are only tweening on the y-axis, I just need to change block width to block height, I think. But we'll see if it works. Okay, this is cool. And seemingly the selection is all right, but let me just refresh the page. Also, I'm going to change these values so there are a bit more blocks. I'm going to leave this at 8, and I'm going to say this should be 12. Okay. I think this is all right. We'll see. If there are bugs, we'll iron them out. So, okay. Seemingly correct. Let's check that to-do list. Dynamically spawn starting blocks done, and also make block sizes dynamic is, I guess, also done, but I might do some minor refactoring here because I don't really want to do the whole for loop stuff right here. So I'm just going to create, I think, a custom action for blocks and call them spawn or something. Right. I'm going to create a custom action called spawn all. And right here, I'm just going to call it. Since there are no blocks in the start of the game on the layout, I think this will just, run without any picked instances, but this should also just work, but we'll see. And this should move right here. Okay, so it's still working. This is fine. Okay. Also, I am contemplating adding some parameters to this. So spawn all should just take a columns and a rows parameter. And I'm just going to use these right here. Oops. Okay. So I think we're no longer using these, right? Cool, I can just remove these, and instead I'm going to add the values right here. Okay, it's a little better. For me anyway. Okay, so this is working. Let me just check the to-do list. Spawn new blocks. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky because I haven't thought this through, but I'm going to do that now, I guess. So how to spawn new blocks? I have a couple of ideas on how to proceed. One thing that I could do, I think, is to actually spawn a bunch of blocks on top of the existing playing field, just not show them to the player. And when the blocks are falling down, the blocks that were on top of this, the column that is being modified, so the new blocks will just, you know, continue falling down, and then I just respawn stuff right here. I think this could work. So it will be like a seamless, infinite spawning type of experience for the player, because I don't really want the gaps to appear, I think, at all. So I guess I could probably do something like okay, let me just think this through. So the initial 8x8 level was cool, I think. Where was I? Yeah. So I'm just going to say 8x8. But I can also do something like changing the size of the level object to double its height. So some of it will be off screen anyway, but also I'm going to add the little object that covers up a part of the level, I guess. Okay, so this is now 360 by 320. I'm going to change its opacity to something a little lower. So at one point I will just make this completely occlude the whole thing, but for now and for debugging purposes I want it to show but be transparent a little. So what I want to do now is, since we have this 1:2 ratio of the level object, I'm just going to change the number of rows to 16 instead of 18. Okay, so this is all right, but I also want to prevent selection of blocks from this part of the screen, because I only want the player to see and to be able to select the blocks that are below this line. So to do that, I think I'm going to change stuff a bit. I don't think this game is going to scroll anywhere, so I'm just going to move this collider object to the UI layer, which I'm going to enable so we see it, but it's locked. And for the touch stuff, which happens in the e-input level event sheet, so this on selection start, Y selection, and on selection end custom actions, essentially functions, are called when a touch is starting on a block, or while a block is being touched, or when any touch ends. So this is, I think, where I need to check if the position of the touch is not actually overlapping this collider object. So I'm just going to go to blocks, and where the selection start stuff happens, I'm going to check if the position of the touch that is starting is actually on the area of the collider object. So I could probably do something like directly interfacing with the touch object, or no, this is fine. I'm already doing that, so yeah, this is all right. Okay, it will be easier if I add a little condition that checks if this block is overlapping the collider, and if it's not overlapping the collider, then I allow the selection to start. This should work, I guess. Yeah. Now, this is the tricky part, because this is, you know, when the player is actually starting the selection below the collider, but moving up. So I need to put the same check here as well, I think. And also I'm going to show you the hitbox, or the collision polygon of the block object, because it's a little sussy. So yeah, okay, now I can start the selection, but I can't move it right here, which is correct. And yeah, so the block's collision polygon is actually not covering the whole sprite. And this is because if it would be covering the whole sprite, then if two objects are just touching, in constructs overlapping terms, it means that they are already overlapping, even though they are not overlapping per se, they are just touching. So yeah, this is why I reduced the hitbox or the collision polygon. And the block has just two animations. One is called unselected, the other one is called selected, and these are switched when the selection is includes a block or not, you know. So yeah, okay, this is all right, I think, for a first implementation anyway. I'm just going to save, and I am also going to, okay, so spawn new blocks is in progress, because there's a bunch of extra blocks on top, but they are not replenished. So I need to do something like adding new blocks when some blocks of columns are removed. How should I do that? There are probably a couple of ways to do it, but I am going to figure it out right now. Also, because we have this little tween, I might want to delay the spawning a little bit. Right. I'm also going to hydrate, just a second. Okay, so when the tween ends, I could, I guess, dynamically spawn some blocks. I just need to figure out how many. Okay, let me check the code that I wrote a couple days ago, and I no longer remember what it contains. So the removal is happening in two parts. At first, a block is removed, which means that they are destroyed. And then all the blocks that are on top of these blocks have their fall count variable increased by 1, which means that this block will fall once this timer expires. And when this timer expires, the fall custom action is called, and this is where the actual falling happens using a tween and some bouncy easing, of course. And then the fall count variable is reset. So I think this should be the place where I spawn the extra blocks. Now the question is that how exactly do I want these to happen? So before I zero out the fall count variable, I need to spawn some blocks in the same column. So yeah, I think I'm going to create a separate spawn custom action for the block family. Spawn, and this should just either take X and Y coordinates, or maybe a count and a column number. Okay, I'm going to go with the X and Y stuff for now, but I may or may not change this later. So X and Y, right. Essentially, I need to do this. but using this X and this Y. I also need to do the sizing, so essentially I can just call this spawn action right here. So it's a little better. So I'm going to say, whoops, block spawn, and all this X and Y business should just go here. Okay. At first I'm just going to test if I screwed anything up. Okay, seemingly I didn't, because now the spawn custom action is called when the level is populated with the blocks, which is all right. So I can just remove these stuff. And now I want the falling thing to actually call this spawn custom action a couple of times. The problem is that this is called for every block. So I guess I could probably move the whole spawning thing a little closer to this part instead of using the fall custom action as a trigger, because I'm going to think about this a little so I don't do something stupid for the first try. Okay, so what if I spawn some blocks on top of the... So maybe I don't need this collider stuff anyway. Okay. Let me just, whoops, let me just remove the collider for now, because I have a different idea how to do this. So if I just move this back to the original 320 by 320, I could probably do something like dynamically spawning an amount of blocks on top before I even start the whole removal process. So these blocks will essentially, just like the ones that are already in the inside the level object, they will just spawn down when the whole removal happens. So yeah, I think I'm going to try it this way. It might be a little more cleaner, and it's fewer objects anyway, so could work. Okay, so instead of using this as the trigger to spawn blocks, I'm going to use this. And essentially what I want to do is go through all the blocks that are about to be removed and spawn some new ones. Okay. I just need to figure out how many blocks are in a row, I mean a column, that are about to be removed. And for each column, I will need to create as many blocks as many are removed from the playing field. Right. How do I calculate this in a clean way? Maybe I should utilize some variables to store how many blocks are removed from each column. Right, so I could do that, and either use an array to store this information, or use like a string that is essentially a CSV. This is also something that people in Construct use because they don't like interfacing with arrays, even though there's nothing wrong with the arrays, I think. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the honorable array way. Although now I'm thinking about it, maybe it shouldn't be an array, it should be a JSON, because I want the key to be the either the X coordinate or the column count or something. And I just want the value to be the amount of blocks that should spawn in this column. So let me just create an array and name it something like R, which is a good pirate name. But I'm also going to call it new blocks. Not a great name, but it's all right, I think. So I just want to, oh no, sorry, I said array, but yeah, I said JSON before, so maybe I should do a JSON one. Okay, let me just do this. JSON new blocks. Okay. So at first I want to reset the contents of this. Yeah. Okay. The question is, how does this work? So I rarely use this, so I'm going to try something at first. If I do something like that, then I guess I could find out if this even works, or if I have to initialize the key first or something. So I'm just going to log everything to the console. So JSON new blocks dot to beautify string or beautified string. I never know, or get beautified string. Which one is it? This expects path, so the other one doesn't. So this just lists the whole JSON object, I think. Right. I'm just going to run the game and remove some stuff. So, okay, it's an empty object that is echoed, which means that this is not great. JSON new blocks should be, yeah, the add to stuff only work if there is already a key that it exists under this name. So I will need to create that. I'm guessing that set value should create the key, so I'm just going to try that. Some removal. Okay, so now X1 is working. This is nice. So what I need to do is to set the value of this if it doesn't exist. Or no, I should just probably reset the JSON object's contents when a selection ends, possibly. Okay. So I could probably do something like block.x Okay, I need to convert it to a string. X. But I only want to do that if the key doesn't exist. Ooh, this is going to look horrible. So if the JSON doesn't have this as the key, then it should be created and initialized with the value 0. And then I could do something like add a value to this. I wonder if this will work. Also, I'm not quite sure if this runs as many times as there are blocks, or yeah. I'm going to check something. Okay, so the timer only fires once, which is fine, I guess. Which makes the blocks full, but this is cool. This is not even the thing that I was looking for, sorry. So at first I'm going to look how this remove stuff is called. It's called right here. So all selected blocks are removed. But these are called only once, so this is not a for each type of situation, which is all right. I just need to do a for each right here. I think if I move it right here, this could work. And also I'm going to move the log right here. So if there are stuff removed, I'll just echo this. Okay. It does not work, at least not as I intended it to. The initializing stuff is also not happening, so I have to move it right here inside the for each loop. That's still not great. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? Okay, this should go here, I think. Also, some picking issues exist, I think, because the block underscore is the block that is about to be removed, and I'm referencing the block object, not the block family, so this might also introduce some issues. Okay, so this is now better. So this means that at this x coordinate 2 blocks should spawn, and at this coordinate 1 block should spawn, and I think this reflects the correct amount. So for example, if I remove 3 blocks from here, okay, this also includes stuff from before. So how do I tackle this with 2 for each blocks? It's not great, but I think I might do that. Or I could just delete the whole contents of this JSON stuff. This is easier. So how do I reset the whole thing? How is Tibor doing? Tibor is doing fine. Thanks for asking. He's actually arriving, I think, in like 2 hours or something. Yeah, he just wrote a message. And yeah, we are going to work on this game for a while, but probably off stream. And then we are going to play Dungeons and Dragons at a friend's house today evening. So yeah, Tibor is also working on a couple of costumes because that's what he does nowadays. And also he is leveling up his digital art skills. He tried using graphite the other day. He's moving to Sprite for animation. So yeah, he's into this stuff really. Hey Shamu, köszi. Alihó. Yeah, D&D, I have never done it, so I'm not so sure if I'm going to like it, but, you know, I am having a positive attitude, and all the others who are partaking have more experience, so I'm pretty sure that they will, you know, accommodate a little a novice player like myself, hopefully. I try not to screw up. I've tried to read as much of the rulebook as possible, but god damn, it's a long one. So, have you ever played D&D, or do you do any sort of role-playing stuff, Flavius? By the way, do you have any experience in this field? Because I sure don't. Apart from playing video games, of course, but no, not the proper tabletop stuff. Ó, Samu, ingyen válaszolok neked is közben. Ismered a konstruktort, nézegetett fejlesztő Wikipédiát, hogy mik vannak régen, meg vannak. Nem könnyű a konstrukt? Szerintem nagyon könnyű a konstrukt, de ez lehet, hogy egy ilyen szubjektív dolog. Az biztos, hogy tutoriált nem sokat találsz hozzá, szóval ilyen szempontból lehet, hogy tényleg nem a legjobb. Az tény. Azért most már vannak YouTube-on, de leginkább angol nyelven elérhető tutoriálok, de ja, amúgy szerintem könnyű, csak más gondolkodást igényel egy picikét, mint a legtöbb játék engine. Nem egy Unity, meg Godot, meg Unreal. Úgyhogy ja. Megértem, hogy így elsőre nem tűnik annyira könnyűnek, de nagyon sok példaprojekt is van mellékelve benne, amit ott a kezdőlapról elérsz, és akkor ha azokat megnézed, hogy működnek, akkor ott elég jól rá lehet jönni szerintem egy csomó dologra. Én így indultam legalábbis nagy részt. Right, I'm switching back to English, sorry guys, but yeah, I figured that this stream should be bilingual because I am bilingual, so why not? And if someone starts to talk to me in Hungarian, I'm just going to reply in Hungarian. I hope it's not off-putting too much, and I try not to do it too much anyway, but yeah, the primary language of the stream is English, definitely. But I'm happy to answer any Hungarian requests. Pixelorama, alright, this is the one that is downloadable from itch, and it's a free software, right? I think I saw it. Oh yeah, I didn't even read your whole message, sorry. So it's on itch, yeah, definitely. I think I already suggested it to him, but I'm not sure if he checked it out yet, so I'm just going to mention it once again. Thanks for the tip. This is the one that you use, Flavius, right? Have you tried Sprite, by the way, or did you just fall in love with Pixelorama and you're keeping it? No experience with D&D, but do like to watch others play it. Yeah, I similarly do like to watch Harmon Quest, which is not D&D per se, but it's a really fun show, and I think they're using the Pathfinder tabletop RPG system. But it's just mostly fun, so I don't think they're following the rules too strictly. But yeah, I love that show. Tried Sprite, but Pixelorama is better for you. That's good. I mean, this is the point of trying out a bunch of things and figuring out which one works the best for you. I'm the same situation with Construct. I tried a little bit of Godot, I did my toe in Unity, but yeah, these are not for me, definitely. I just feel right at home in Construct, because when I was a kid, like in 7th grade or 8th grade in primary school, I used a program called Click and Play, which was made by Click Team, a little French software developer, and then later they went on to make the Games Factory, which I also used when I was a kid. And then they made a Multimedia Fusion, which is still, I guess, developed today. So, and it's a really, really similar system to Construct. I'm guessing that Skira, who makes Construct, draw a great deal of inspiration from Multimedia Fusion. But Multimedia Fusion is a lot harder to use in terms of user experience or developer experience per se, because Construct is just a lot more lightweight, I think. I mean, just looking at it, it's simpler, and also the bunch of keyboard shortcuts are also working great. Although I'm not so sure how Multimedia Fusion, the current version, is doing with keyboard shortcuts, but overall, this whole event sheet stuff is working great, I think. It's readable and it's easy to make changes. It refactors stuff automatically for you. You can rename variables and you can rename objects and don't have to worry about any inconsistencies. So it's great. But of course, it comes with drawbacks because the whole thing works in the browser, so you're going to have all the problems as all the other web applications have. So, right, okay. So, where was I? Once again, I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, I need to spawn the blocks, and I just need to figure out how many blocks to spawn and where. So I already calculate the amount of blocks that should be spawned in a horizontal position in an X coordinate. And now I just need to call this spawn custom action a couple of times. So essentially what I want to do is go through this JSON stuff for each. I'm guessing this should work fine. And for now, I'm just going to echo, stuff. So JSON something new blocks, current key, JSON new blocks dot current value. I'm just going to echo this, remove this. So if I remove some blocks, it just writes to the console that into this position, 1 block should be spawned, and in this position, this horizontal position, 2 blocks should be spawned. So the blocks should spawn on top of the whole level object, I guess. And yeah, positioning them shouldn't be too hard. Okay, I'm just going to figure this part out. Also, I'm going to make a note of this Pixelorama business. Good. Although Tibor did say that he liked Asprite a lot. We had a little job, essentially a commission, to make a little infinite runner or endless runner game. And the studio who ordered it gave us some sprites, which were more like concept art for the player and the monster characters, and Tibor made the animation, the walking and idle animations in Asprite. So this is pretty new. This was a couple of weeks ago, and this was the first time he used it, but he liked it. So hopefully it will work fine, but I'm going to insist that he checks out Pixelorama as well, because it might be even better. Who knows? Right. It's a little chilly in here, so I'm just going to put on a little sweater. Hopefully it won't be too loud. And hopefully I can manage to put on a sweater. Okay, good. Right. Okay, so this is where I go through this JSON stuff, and I need to call the spawn object a couple of times. I also need to add a little for loop, I think, or maybe just a repeat loop, which is similar. And the amount of times I need to repeat it should be JSON new blocks dot current value. And I just need to call block spawn, and the X coordinate should definitely be JSON new blocks dot current key. I just need to convert this to an integer. Yeah. And for the Y coordinate, I mean, not an integer, maybe a float would be better, I don't know, but for now integer is fine. So now this is the tricky part, because yeah, the repeat loop is not going to cut it, because I'm going to need the iterator. So let me just change that. For, and I'm going to use once again this w, no, not the xdy parameter, iterator. Start index should be 0, and the end index should be minus JSON new blocks dot key, right? Current key, I mean, which should be converted to an integer at first. Oof. Okay, this doesn't look great, but if it works, I'm going to say that it's it's fine. I'm just going to make some changes to the column sizes because I do have an ultra wide monitor, so this should accommodate and it will be more readable for any of you people watching this on stream or the VOD, possibly on YouTube. Okay, so how long have I been streaming? For like 2 hours almost, right? No, just an hour. Okay, an hour and 11 minutes. Okay, I'm going to keep streaming for at most an hour, I think. So, okay. For each entry in, okay, this is all right, and I'm going to say the y coordinate stuff should be loop index w. Okay, I'm going to remove this minus stuff because I don't like using an end index with a negative number, although it probably works. I don't know if it can count down as well as up, but for now I'm just going to remove it from here and add it right here. This is probably not going to be correct, but I'm just going to run the game and see what happens. Okay, so something is definitely sussy. I did forget to offset x and y with the level object's position. So for x, I'm going to say, no, x is actually fine. It's an absolute value, so it's all right, but y is not. I will have to prefix this stuff and say level dot y minus loop index blah blah blah, which should be multiplied by the block height, I think. Whoops, something's not great. Okay, y. Let me just check what happens in the console. So if I'm removing 3 blocks, okay, I get a crap ton of messages instead of just 3. Why is this for each stuff? Okay, I'm doing something sussy. Current key, no, it should be current value, right? Because the value contains the number. Yeah, the number of blocks. I was using the position. Okay, so this is better. It spawned 4 blocks instead of 1. I mean, instead of 3, which is an off by 1 error, and I already know where it is. Also, the position is not correct because it's because of this midpoint origin stuff. So I'm going to say I also need to subtract block height times 0.5 from this. And the off by 1 error should probably be corrected by doing this. So 2 blocks, okay. Now the correct amount spawns in the correct position, but they don't shift down, which is not great. But I'm guessing that this is because spawning stuff or destroying stuff even in construct means that the object will be definitely spawned or destroyed in the next tick and not the current one. So whenever I'm doing this sort of thing, I will probably need to either do stuff asynchronously or just put in a little wait stuff which waits for the next tick. Okay. So the timer, okay, this could be a good place to put a wait, I think. We'll see. I do either this, or I can also do something like wait for previous actions. This could also work, I think. And they are, I guess, interchangeable, but we'll find out. So, okay. Still not great. Yeah, the spawning is fine, but the falling is not. I think I know why. Yeah, this fall count should be also edit the new blocks as well. Yeah, this is why they don't fall. Now, the question is, do I tackle it like modifying the spawn custom action to include like a fall count parameter, which I also set? I think it could work. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to add another parameter called fall count right here, and also set value of fall count to fall count the parameter. By default it's 0, so current usages are not affected, hopefully. However, when I'm spawning this stuff, I need to set the fall count to the correct number, which is, I have no idea. But if I just, no. It should be, I think, the current value, because that is the value, how many blocks are spawned on top of the current column. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll find out. Yeah, it's definitely not working. Crap. I'm a little sus of this stuff, so block fall count or new block fall count, I'm just going to echo this stuff to the console, block.fall count, and run the game and remove some stuff. Okay, so these are correct. These contain the values, so this is fine. Yeah, I think might be a picking issue after all. This is not great. I'm just going to try something real quick. So if fall count is bigger than 0, I want to start the timer for those blocks as well. Okay, yeah, this works. Yes, some sussiness is still happening, but yeah, I will tackle this later. Okay. Also, where's the timer event sheet? Did I leave the for each after all, or did I not? Each block, because timers are a little sussy. So if you do something like this and more than one block is picked and have their timers happen at the same or expire at the same tick, then they might not all be called. Only the first one. But if you add a little for each, then each one of them is called. Okay. Now the question is, but why do all these extra blocks spawned? I'm not resetting something, definitely. I don't know if I should. Yeah. Yeah, this needs some restructuring as well, but I'll tackle it just a second. I want to fix this extra block spawning stuff previously, I mean first. Okay, I'm still not resetting the contents of the JSON new blocks object. I think this is definitely a problem. So I'm going to say how do I reset it easily? If I just say object, no, set null, this could work. I think if I set the root to null, this should remove contents. No, it doesn't. Okay. What if I do this? I'm just going to write the contents for each. Okay, so JSON new blocks is empty at this point. If I do another, yeah, it still contains the previous one, I think. And if I do one more, then yeah, it'll just get added. God damn it. Why is it so hard to reset this freaking JSON? 1 second. Also, isn't there like a destroy or something? What does this do? Ooh, something was off. Okay. Okay. I will need to squash this bug as well. Right now I'm able to, yeah. Yeah, the stuff that worked for square blocks are not working great for the rectangular ones. So I'm just going to add a little note right here. Good. And also for now, I'm going to use square blocks. So I'm just going to check how this looks. Okay, so now it's an 8x8 grid and it should work better. Okay, so this destroy stuff is actually destroying the instance of the JSON object, which is not great. So instead of this, I need to what if I do something like this? No. Yeah, this really shows my incompetence when coming to this JSON object stuff. I figured that setting the root path value to something like this would cut it, and this would just reset the whole JSON object to an empty object. But seemingly the frick, something's off. So yeah, it's definitely not doing that. The Boogies, hi there. What is happening? Welcome in. How are you guys? What's the situation on this afternoon, I guess? Yeah, we're in the same time zone, I think. So yeah, how is your Saturday? What's going on? Feels like a dream. First time seeing me live. Really? Well, hopefully it's not the last one. But yeah, I've been doing some streaming off and on again, but for the last couple of months I've been doing nothing. I mean, I didn't stream a minute, so I figured that I should put myself on a schedule. And this is just an experimental comeback stream or something, but the plan is to come up with an actual schedule that I can, you know, keep and stream at least once a week. So I'm not so sure which day it will be, but yeah, at one point I will figure it out. And in November, I'm trying to do 4 streams at least. So this is the first one, but it might not count. So yeah. Yeah, I did. I did. Yeah, look at the skies to see if it still counts as an afternoon. Although I could have just as easily looked at the clock, but you are correct to point it out that this was not the most intuitive thing to do, probably. Although seemingly for me it was. But yeah, this freaking not time zone. What the frick is it called? Daylight saving stuff is still screwing with my mind a little. So I tend to call evenings afternoons and vice versa from time to time. Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out how to reset this freaking JSON object. Meanwhile, 2024 sundial still works. Yeah, that's a good point. Then again, it will probably still work for quite some time. So yeah. Okay. What if I can do stuff like this, right? Yeah, I think I procrastinated looking at the construct docs for a few minutes now. So let me just check those, because it's always a good idea to do so once you've exhausted all your options. Okay, so plugin behavior and JSON. Okay, and what I need are actions. Delete key, add path, so it is no longer present. Okay. Okay. Wait a second. Well, how did I miss parse? Parse could work, I think. Parse. And I'm just going to do this, and it should override the whole thing with an empty object, shouldn't it? Okay. Good. I think I figured out this bug, by the way. Okay. So now it's clearing the contents of the JSON stuff, which is nice. The problem is that if I'm removing blocks from the top row, then there is no animation or anything, which is not great. Answering to your question, you are good. That's good. Finally managed to push the new version and the Halloween map for Wake Up. I downloaded it and I almost started it, and tomorrow I'm definitely going to check it out, because my plan was to check it out yesterday evening, but something came up, so I couldn't. But it's not going away, right? It's not like a time-limited thing, this Halloween map. I hope not. So tired, as holiday yesterday and slept until midday. Well done. You should absolutely take advantage of these national holidays and just, you know, sleep for as long as you can, because that's definitely what I do. Even though I don't really work in a regular schedule because I'm a freelancer, but I still try to not forget these extra holidays and, you know, sync with the rest of society and rest, because it's a good thing to do. Right, okay, so where we are. If I'm removing blocks that are not on the top row, this looks good. I just need to put some, I don't know, object here that occludes the newly spawned blocks. So this is fine. What is not fine is this sort of thing. Yeah, I need to figure out something for this. I already have a very sketchy solution, which I'm not going to do, which would be spawning a bunch of extra blocks once again, just like I first tried. But I don't really like that one. Although, this is a freaking jam game, so yeah, maybe I will just do that. Okay, where was this collider stuff? Right here. Okay, so I'm going to extend this to... I want 4 extra rows for now, I think, which means that it's 160 pixels, so it should be 480, and I should just move it somewhere here. Good. And I'm going to put this collider stuff right here, and the height should be 160 once again. And so now I have this kind of square looking stuff, but it's actually not a square, but this is not a problem. And what I need to change is the spawn all call, which should include 4 extra rows, so 12 total. Okay, so let me check this. Oh yeah, and this means that yeah, the opacity I'm going to decrease so we can see behind this invisible wall stuff. Not invisible wall, it's an actual wall. But yeah, okay, so there are a bunch of extra blocks on top. I cannot select them because the stuff that I made at the beginning of the stream is still working, which is good. But I will also need to check a situation where I remove these blocks. Yeah. Okay, this works fine. I'm going to increase the size of this. So it's a sketchy solution, but it is a solution. It's a permanent map. Nice. But I'm going to check it out tomorrow, definitely. Freelancer times are so messy sometimes. Yeah. Do you also freelance, Togis, by the way? I can't recall if you reference this sort of thing. But if it's top secret, then don't tell me. So what are we doing this month? After I will stop bothering... No, this is fine. You're not bothering me at all. I'm just glad to, you know, socialize a bit. So yeah, what I'm doing right now is a super simple game, as you could see. It's something like Bejeweled, and I'm making it for this jam. This is the One Game a Month jam, the small Hungarian community jam that I'm partaking this year. Well, I started in February, but yeah, who cares? So since February, I've been making one game a month, and this month, which is, you know, this is the October jam, but the deadline is actually on next Tuesday, which is already November, but whatever. So the theme is game makes music for this particular game that I'm making. I could have chosen Scare and based on the famous building themes, but I did not. So Tibor came up with the idea, who is my friend who's usually doing the graphics and sometimes the audio design for our games, and of course level design, game design, stuff like this we make together. So the game makes music theme will be the one that we choose, and this whole matching stuff will work similarly to this current version, where you can remove at least 2 and at most 4 blocks from this playing field, but there will also be some symbols on these little blocks. And you can also match the symbols, so you don't have to match just by color, you can also match by symbol. And the concept is that there will be like a simple drum loop, maybe with some bass playing in the background, and as you remove blocks, the blocks that are removed actually add a little note to the music, hopefully in sync with the beat, and definitely in sync with the, you know, the actual chord that is playing right now. So we will choose the notes that will suit the music loop that is playing in the background. We don't have the music, by the way. We don't have the notes, so no audio yet, but this will probably come on Monday. I'm working towards making the game's primary mechanics work today and tomorrow. And yeah, we'll have Monday to add the audio part and then submit on Tuesday. That's the plan. It will be a super simple game, and it will be a mobile game. This is why the vertical orientation is set up like this. And I'm going to check chat. Both freelancers, right? But consulting for clients, so somewhat in a schedule while working with others. Yeah, this is familiar as well to me. Yeah, but when we are free, or our days become nights, nights become days, and everything goes crazy. Yeah, I try to prevent this stuff from happening, but from time to time I can't really escape it either. So yeah, but this is usually the problem is myself and the procrastinating nature of me. So yeah, I do like deadlines, but I usually wait really close to them to start certain projects that are, you know, not my favorite type of things. So yeah, thank you, by the way. It does sound great, but I'm not sure if it will work great. But I figured that this sort of thing as a starting point could, you know, be changed into something completely different even. So yeah, we can probably iterate if the original idea sucks, which we'll probably find out on Monday. So we don't have that much time to fix it. But yeah, I'm sure that something playable will come out of it. Why not? I don't want to break my streak since February, so I'm sure I'll just procrastinate some other work stuff and finish this game primarily. Okay, so I think the current version is more or less all right. We don't have this pesky bug anymore. It looks a little sussy when removing stuff and things folding in, but I think I'll figure out something for this later. This is all programmer art anyway. So I'm going to export the project. do the good old HTML5 version, I'm going to override this zip file and I'm going to call the little script which pushes this build to itch using the Butler CLI, which is the official itch CLI, and it's already done. It's tiny, so it was 400 kilobytes and most of it is runtime stuff. So Butler only pushes the difference between two builds. So if I now go to this page, the new build should be loading. So if you guys want to give it a try, not that it's a proper game, it's not yet, but yeah, you guys can check it out if you want as well. And the link is right here. I do like to be on the edge, kind of, yeah, but I also like to relax, but yeah, the two don't really mix together all the time. Okay, so the new version is seemingly working. If you guys want to check it out, you can. Also, I'm going to check out this to-do list and figure out something to do. So spawn new blocks is, I think, done at this point. Okay, so we have 3 items left. Add symbols on top of blocks, make them matchable. Yeah, this is the part that I just mentioned. So a second dimension that is for matching blocks instead of just the color. And there's this loose condition detection stuff. I think I'm going to skip this for now, because if the playing field is big enough, it should be a really rare occurrence. Because yeah, it definitely can happen, but it's probably not going to happen a lot anyway. So yeah, I'm just going to do this later. And the basic sounds and background music stuff, I will wait for Tibor to do that, because I don't think I will have the time to actually figure out the audio part. But Tibor likes this doing this sort of thing, so I think I'll just ask him to make the sounds and the background loop. So yeah, essentially I have this one item to do, so I'm going to do that, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish the stream for today. This was always going to be like a short re-entry, essentially. So and then 5 hours later I'm still not finished with this feature, possibly. We'll find out. So I'm going to take like a 2-minute break, bio break, as I heard Fullbox mention this sort of thing. I'm going to pee. Be right back, folks. Yeah, 2 minutes. And I am back. So I changed the lighting setup as well, because it's getting a little dark. So hopefully I won't disappear from the screen. Although that wouldn't be the end of the world either. So yeah, okay. Right, so the last thing that I'm going to do today on stream is making this little symbol stuff. And for this, Tibor made some preliminary graphics, but I have no idea where to find them, so I'm just going to skip this part. And I'll just make some ugly programmer art, so when we replace it, it will actually be a big difference. So the symbol should appear on top of the block, and there should be like 3 or 4 types, just like there are 4 colors right now. So I think I'm going to create a separate object and put it in a hierarchy with the block object. So when a block is spawned, also this secondary block is spawned. I think I'm going to use a sprite, of course. And what was the original size of this? Not that it matters a lot, but okay, it's 40 by 40, so I'm going to also size this accordingly. And I'm going to draw some stuff and things with a freaking brush. So I'm going to draw like a little number 1 and 2 and 3 should be sufficient. I guess I could probably use separate frames for this instead of different animations, but yeah, I'm just going to use animations for now. So this is number 2, and this is number 3. Beautiful. Okay, so the origin is in the middle. The collision polygon doesn't really matter, but for good measure, I'm going to copy this one to here and make it apply to all animations. So now every animation has the same hitbox and also the origin. So yeah, this works, I think, fine. So what I need to do is to create the hierarchy by selecting the child object first and the parent object second, then right click, hierarchy, add selection, blah, blah, blah. This is how it's done in Construct. So now we have 2 objects, but one is a parent and the other one is a child. So I'm going to name this one symbol. And I definitely want the X and Y position to be synchronized between the parent and the child. This doesn't really matter. The width and height should also be synchronized, I think. Although this means that it will be stretchy. I don't know. I'm going to leave it as is for now. So the angle shouldn't change, but yeah, I'm not going to synchronize it for now. Okay, so this is all right. I guess I could probably put it in a container as well, so it's picked automatically, but I'm not going to bother. This is fine for now. Now, the spawning stuff might need some tweak, because if I run the game right now, as you can see, there are no symbols, and this is because when I'm dynamically spawning the parent object, which is the block, the spawn action has to have this little extra option set called create hierarchy. And now the child object will also spawn. So yeah, and this is, I think, the only spawning stuff that I'm doing. But I'm going to search spawn. Okay, so the actual action that spawns stuff is right here. And this is the only instance, so... No, sorry, this is not the correct one. But yeah, it's called here and the action is run here, so now it should work. Yeah. Okay, so now it's all the symbol 1, so I will have to randomize this just like I randomize the color. So the randomization happens in the blocks init function, or custom action to be exact. So I will need to pick the blocks children, or just child, because there's only one, which is a symbol object type, and I need to set the animation randomly. Yeah. Okay, so for this I will probably create some macros, but I will definitely create an action that is called set animation. And this is where I will put the randomization stuff. So I'm going to create some macros. There's also already unselected and selected for the blocks. So there will be anim 1, 2, and 3 for now for the symbols. Did I use numbers or did I use actual words? I used numbers. Okay, so I am going to... Okay, I am cat sitting at the moment, so yeah. And I think I heard a suggestion that someone needs dinner or something, but yeah, it's only 4 o'clock, so maybe a little later. Okay, so I'm going to create 3 macros, which are just global constants. Set their values according to the animation names. And boom. So this will probably be renamed at one point, once we come up with a name for each symbol, but for now this is fine. And right here I'm just going to put choose, anim1, anim2, anim3. And the choose expression will just return one of these listed arguments. So if I run the game now, yeah, now the randomization is visible. So what we want to do, at least what is the plan, is we want to allow matches that are either of the same color or the same number or symbol. So essentially I want to do something like starting from here and dragging up here. This should be selected and this also should be selected. But what I want is to store the information when the actual selection starts that, yeah, I'm going to think about this. So if I start on a yellow one, I can either move here or I can move here. Right. What I don't want is for mixed stuff to happen. For example, if I move here and if there will be like a green 3 here, so I don't want this sort of thing to happen, starting from here and then going here and ending here. Because if I start by matching a symbol, I don't want to end by matching a color. So this is something that I need to figure out. The question is, where do I put this information? Do I create like a global variable? I already have this current block QID stuff, which I use to store the currently selected blocks unique ID, I think. Where do I use this? Yeah, in a couple places. Okay. So essentially, I might need two variables. One that says something like, that is called something like match color, and the other is match symbol. And if I move to something that is of a different color but the same symbol, then I change the match. Ooh, what did I say? So if I move to something that is a different color but the same symbol, then I keep the match with by symbol true and the other one false. Or as in construct terms in my projects, it's no and yes, because I don't like using booleans in construct for reasons I'm not going to go into. I just use these global variable, global constant macros essentially. No stands for the number 0 and the yes stands for the number 1. So yeah, I'm going to say selection match by color. And by default it should be 1. And the other should be called match by symbol. So when a match starts, a selection starts, I need to set both of these to 1. So essentially I could just keep their initial values at 0, which doesn't matter, but yeah. So when the selection is starting right here, I am going to need to set the set value of selection match by color to yes, and do the same with the symbol 1, also yes. So okay, right. And this while selection stuff is called when the touch is still happening and the player moves their finger or whatever they are using to play the game onto a different block. And this different block might have the same animation. No, might have the same color. Okay, this is where this same color stuff is handled. So I think I need to make like a sub event right here. Hold on, don't try. Thanks, Flavius. If you encounter anything sussy, let me know. Thank you. Hopefully it's not terrible at the moment. Although it doesn't really do much. You can just match colors of 2, 3, or 4 blocks, and it's an infinite nothingness, I guess. Okay, so this is where I calculate the distance, which is sussy, and I'm going to fix it so it accommodates the non-square block situation as well, but for now I'm going to ignore that. and it also checks the selection count, so it's within the interval that is defined in these two variables. So this is where the game actually checks if after a selection at least 2 blocks are selected and at most 4. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and this is where the color is matching between the 2 blocks. So I think I will probably make like is match variable right here, and by default it's not a match, so it's 0. And if the color is matching, I'm going to set value of is match to yes, and I'm also going to do something like this. Might be a little dirty, but if it works, then I will clean it up, maybe. So set value selection match by color to know if it's not a color match. And similarly, I need to do something like this, but instead of the colors, I will need to check symbols, which brings up an interesting situation because I don't have a family yet, which means that I can't really pick 2 different instances with these. So I'm just going to create a family for this, call it consistently symbol underscore, and for each block I need to also pick the correct symbol. So block pick condition. So block, if I could write correctly, pick child or children and say symbol. Is there a max number of matching? Yes, it's 4. Indeed. Oh yeah, Flavius also asked the same. Yeah. For now, it's right here. So no, sorry, not here, but yeah. See block selection min and max values. If I change these values, then the game will magically update. So yeah, that's it. But for now, it's between 2 and 4. I'm not so sure what we are going to allow in the final game, but I just wanted to make the system that, you know, allows any value essentially for minimum and maximum as well. Okay, so what am I doing here? The picky thing is always a little sussy. So I'm just going to try to pay attention. Okay, so this one is called from here. So the current selection is in this family instance. What I want to pick is the other one. Okay, we'll find if this works. So I'm just going to say pick children and symbol. And right here, I'm going to say symbol dot animation name is equal to symbol underscore dot animation name. So these are the 2 instances of the symbol objects. And if they have the same animation, then it's still a match. But if they are not, then the selection is not by symbols. Oof. Yeah, this is going to be tricky, but we'll find out if the whole logic is wrong. So right, and we also need to check the value of this selection match by color stuff. So compare variable. Selection match by color is yes. So if it's still a match by color, then we might you know, allow another match. And the same thing goes here, but not with color, instead with symbol. Whoops. Okay. Okay, I have zero idea if this is going to work. Probably not. Let's check it out. Yeah, 4 is max. Indeed. For now. Okay, so let me just... okay, so this is 1, 1, and 1. Okay. 3, 3, 2. This is fine because it's the same color. And now let's do something sussy. If I find a good... okay, so this should work as well because it's all ones. That's good. 3, 3. Okay, and now if I move here, yeah, this shouldn't be allowed because I started by matching symbols. So this is not working correctly. This is too lenient. And I don't really want that, I think. Also, yeah, something is definitely sussy, I think. I mean, this is just allowing anything to happen. Okay, so we got a problem. We got a problem, definitely. I'm not checking this is match stuff. I'm just setting it. That's definitely a problem. Oh, shit. Sorry. My phone is super loud. Okay, so this should only happen if this is match stuff is set. Is match yes. Then I should allow the selection, I guess. Okay, this is correct. Okay, this is now better. So if I move to, whoops, what the freak was that? Yeah, there's still sussiness, but yeah. I know why. So if I start here and move here, I shouldn't be able to go here. This is correct because I started matching by symbol and not by color. So, okay, this is fine. The problem is that if I do something like this, then I can, no, sorry, this is all right. Was there sussiness before or did I just imagine it? We'll find out. So 3, 3, and now I don't do this, but yeah, I don't have a third 3 symbol. Okay, let me just do this. This is fine. I move this here, and now I can't continue this selection, which is problematic because this should be allowed. Okay. Because it was 4 3s, but I did move the touch to a different position, which screwed things up. Yeah, not great. Can you check Discord? Of course I can, although I can't only do it on my phone because my setup is still super primitive, so... Oof, how many freaking reds were there, Flavius? Yeah, that's neat. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I we might need to shift this maximum value to either something ridiculously high or something infinite. Yeah, I'm going to think about it. Yeah, so Flavius sent a screenshot which looked like half of the blocks on the playing field were red. So it would be freaking cool to, you know, remove a bunch of them at the same time, which is a very good point. Yeah, I'm just going to try to figure out this sussiness right here, and then I think I'll make a build which has this ridiculously high number as max, so you guys can try it. But then again, I'm not sure if it will be, you know, if it would be too easy for the player to remove a bunch of blocks at the same time. But then again, we are not so sure where we're going with the whole main mechanic anyway. So yeah, it could work. The problem is that when touch is happening, I'm updating this current block UID variable. But if I move back a block, something is amiss. Also, this selection would be really nice as well. And this is essentially the same problem. So if I start doing something like this and I change my mind, if I want to go back here, then this block should be deselected once I move off of it. But this is something that I did not put on the to-do list, but I really need to do. So yeah, I think I'm going to mark this as finished, even though there's a little bug with this stuff. But the bug will be ironed out once I do this one as well, because if you can go back in selections, then it should be working fine. However, I think I promise to end right here once this is done. So this is probably goodbye for now. I am going to make this build that I mentioned, which has the selection maximum to something set to something ridiculous like this. And I'm just going to make a build and end right here. And then you guys can go crazy with the matches. Right. Okay, Tobugis also wrote, I think a combo with crazy amount of number matching would be cool, but I know you don't have much time. No pressure. Oh, I have time. I mean, it's already done, hopefully. Did I export it or did I just change the number? I'm going to export again, if I did. So yeah, I'm going to override this. Yeah, I definitely did that. Now I have deja vu. So yeah, let me just push this to the each servers. It's a 25 kilobyte patch. Nice. Let me just refresh that. Right. So if I start here, I can go crazy. I mean, not too crazy, but yeah, this is the amount that is allowed because I was starting to match by color. Nice. Yeah. I'm going to, you can press, by the way, the letter R or the key R on the keyboard and it will just reload the whole game. So you can wait for a really nice layout. What did I screw up? Yeah, so right now there's this issue that if you move off to a different block, then it screws things up. So be sure to be precise with your touches. I hope this didn't sound too sussy, but yeah. But this will be fixed because right now I need to rewrite the part that allows the whole selection thing to happen because I want the game to have deselection. So if I move right here, then this should be deselected. So yeah, this is where we are at the moment. And most things are working fine. If I start here, I can do this, which is cool. Yeah, no more threes. So this is where I'm going to end it, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around. And I think I am going to found a bug. Oh, you know about it. Yeah, exactly. If it's the same bug that I mentioned, then yes, it's known already. So yeah, I don't have a lot of viewers, but I think I'm going to raid the nerds just to be safe because they should be streaming right about now. So I'm just going to set this up. Hopefully. What the heck are they playing? Nice. Okay, so I'm going to start raid. Thank you once again for sticking around, and hopefully next week I will be also streaming a little bit. So thanks for watching. Bye bye now.